Today we are discussing about English grammar. Even previously I have explained about the importance of vocabulary and its usage in English language. There only I have mentioned the role of English grammar. See, without vocabulary, without a proper structure of a sentence, and all the elements which are required to make a sentence meaningful, without these two things, English language, it is highly impossible. Make it follow. English language is a very highly difficult to make it possible. Even we cannot get a good communication between the people or among the people. Right. So that we must follow a good grammar to make a sentence within a good construction. To make a sentence within a good construction, we should follow all the English grammar rules. In our English grammar, we are going to learn different elements. We are going to learn different or various elements to enrich our English language, to be a good speaker, right? If you are trying to be a good speaker, or if you are trying to be a good listener, trying to be a good reader or writer, whatever your part or whatever your skill, the only English grammar is going to make you a perfect. Only the English grammar is going to make you perfect. See, on all the LS and W skills, without English grammar, we cannot provide a good sentence. All the things while you are speaking or to understand other speeches at the part of listening, to see reading. While we are reading also, if the sentence has not constructed within a proper order, whatever we are reading the sentence, that is not possible to understand. That is not possible to understand, or that is not possible to follow at the time of your reading also. As usual, while you are trying to convey your intention in the way of written or in writing mode, again you need to apply all the all the grammar elements in English language. So English grammar, it brings a glamour to the sentence. See, sometimes, not all the times, all the times, sometimes when we look at some objects, though they are very useful, though they are very essence in our daily activities, if they won't looks good, if they won't looks beautiful, are we able to use it? Definitely no. Though it is a useful thing, first we have to get impression. First we have to get an impression to use it. Such like, see, whenever we are using English language, if you don't add the beautiness to it, definitely it is not going to be very enriched. It's not going to be very enriched in language delivery. So what is that enriching the beautiness? What can enrich the beautiness of English language is grammar. Grammar can enrich the beautiness of English language. How? It makes a sentence meaningful. It makes a sentence orderable. So it organized a sentence, and it adds necessary information to the sentence. Okay, see, can you imagine a sentence without a grammar? It is highly impossible. So grammar can do many in English language. So in that part, today we are going to learn about two elements. The one is sentence structure, and the other thing is importance of punctuation. And today I would like to discuss about two grammar elements. The one thing is sentence structure. Another one thing is importance of punctuation. Along with these, we are going to discuss many other grammar elements. Along with these two, we are going to discuss many other grammar elements such like prepositions, articles, okay, phrases. We are going to discuss many. But today we are going to discuss about sentence structure and importance of punctuation. Okay, let's discuss about sentence structure. Yes, before I'm going to discuss about the structure of a sentence, before I'm going to discuss about the structure of a sentence, here I have to bring to your notice the difference between two things. Here I have to bring a small notice, the difference of between two. The difference of between two. Here it is phrase and clause. What is phrase? What is clause in a sentence? A sentence means, see, previously while we are discussing about phrase, there I have mentioned a group of letters make a word, combines a word, and group of words combines a sentence. A group of sentences make a paragraph. A group of paragraphs make a content or a data. Here, group of letters. See, individual letters, they cannot make any meaning. But when all together, all the word, all the letters, they make a word. Sometimes individual word, it can make a meaning, sometimes it may not. But when group of words combined, when a group of words keep within a proper order, definitely these words can make a meaning of something, can make a sense, can make a sense. But when we combine the words, whether it is a phrase or a clause, whether it is a phrase or clause, all the group of words cannot make a complete meaning of a sentence. That we have already discussed earlier. A group of words which cannot give a complete meaning of a sentence, those group of words will be called as a phrase. Those group of words will call as a phrase. See here, a phrase is a small group of words. See, a phrase is a group of words which cannot contains a complete meaning of something without without another part of a sentence. Without another part of a sentence. For example, see the example means even I told you that a phrase, it doesn't contain a subject and verb. This phrase we have already discussed in the previous class. So, for example, the information age. See, noun phrases, adjective phrases, adverb phrases, and propositional phrases. These different kinds also we have already discussed in the previous class when we were discussing about vocabulary. Right. So, phrase means which cannot make a complete sense of the situation, and it doesn't require, or sorry, it doesn't contains a verb and subject. Right. So that is called as a phrase. For example, if you see here, the information age. See the information age. So these three are a group of words, or this sentence contains the three words. By combining these three words, can we make any meaning? Are we able to understand what is this? What is the behind meaning of using these words, the information age? No, we cannot understand. Right. To understand this part of the sentence, we must depend or we must rely on the other part of the sentence. The other part of the sentence is clause. The other part of the sentence is clause. Clause means again a group of sentence or a part of a sentence which can contain a verb and subject, which can contain subject and verb, and without a phrase also, which can give a complete meaning of a sentence. Clause means which can give a complete meaning even without phrase. Why? Because it contains subject and verb. Okay, so for example, he must stop laughing. He must stop laughing. Here, he is a subject, laughing is a verb. Must stop, right? So, even for example, otherwise, he is laughing. If not must stop, he is laughing. Right, he is subject, laughing is verb. Yes, and he is laughing simply by reading, by speaking, by listening, by writing this also. Easily we can understand what is happening, by whom it is happening. The subject has given and the verb also has given. It's clear. We need not to search for the meaning by using this part of a sentence. Otherwise, if we study phrase, if we study the phrase, there we have to find for there we have to search for the remaining words which can give a complete meaning of these phrase words. Why? Because there is no meaning in the part of a sentence. The information age, it means what. So this sentence trying to explain about what we cannot understand. So a clause means a part of a sentence or group of words which can give a complete meaning of an action. It contains subject plus action. But phrase means, yes, it's also part of a sentence, but it doesn't contain subject plus verb, so that we cannot understand the usage of this phrase. So these two things you must keep in your brain. So yes, let us discuss now about sentence structures. See, before I'm going to discuss about sentence structures, we must learn about clauses. We must learn about clauses that I have already done. Just before I have mentioned what is clause. Clause means a part of a sentence which can give meaning of something, and it contains subject plus verb. So it cannot depend upon the other part of a sentence itself. It can stand on its own. That is called as clause. Again, in the clause, we have two divisions or two types of clauses. We have, again, in the clause, we have two different types. What are they? The first type is independent clause. The next type is dependent clause or subordinate clause. Here you have to observe very keenly. Okay, so for the one expression we are having two words, so that don't get confused. Dependent clause or subordinative clause, both are same. Independent clause, again this is also will be called as main clause. Main clause, subordinate clause. Independent clause, dependent clause. Here within the names, you can be able to understand the nature of these words. The nature of these words. What is independent? One standing on its own, one which can stand on its own without depending upon the others or other things, is called as independent. So independent will be become always will be become as main. Okay, next, dependent. Within this name, you can be able to understand the nature of this word, or the nature or the quality of this word. So dependent means always who who takes support of others is called as dependent, and also it will be called as subordinative. Subordinative. Okay, means one cannot subordinators. Generally, in profession, we call a few kind of categories as subordinators. Means one who can always help to others, one who can always work under someone, one who cannot take decisions on their own, they'll be called as subordinators. Superiors and subordinators. Superior means the above category. This category people, they can take decisions on their own, and always they'll be like a leaders. Subordinators means the next category, in the next category of employees, those who always helps to others and depend upon others to do works. So right here, dependent clause and subordinate clause both are same. So what is the role of main clause? Main clause, see here, I'll use one expression, otherwise you'll get confused. But don't forget, main clause and independent clause both are same. At the same time, don't forget independent dependent clause and subordinate clause. These both are same. Okay, if I use two expressions, definitely people will get confused. So that I'll use main clause and subordinate clause. Okay, so see, in every sentence there are going to be both main clause and subordinate clause. But in some sentences, only two main clauses are going to make a sentence meaningful. How and what are those sentences? The sentences are going to call what? Let's see. What are those different sentences? See, if you see that, what is a sentence structure? Today we are discussing about sentence structure. Before that, I have explained about the chief elements of sentence structure. They are clauses. Again, clause will be divided into two categories: main clause and subordinate clause, independent clause and dependent clause. Okay, if you see that, what is a sentence structure? A sentence which will be arranged or which will be organized within a proper order, that will be called as a structure of a sentence. That will be called as a structure of a sentence. So what is this order? So just before, whatever I have explained, a compound sentence, whatever I have explained, a dependent clause and combination of independent clause, or dependent clause again depend the combination of again dependent clause, and a sentence which combines two two main clauses. So these different kinds of sentences are called as simple sentence, compound sentence, and complex sentences. And compound, complex sentences. There are four different kinds of sentence structures are there. One is simple sentence, compound sentence, complex sentence, and compound complex sentences. So in these four different kinds of sentences, you can be able to understand the structure of sentence with the combination of main clause and subordinate clause, or with the combination of dependent clause and independent clause. How? Let's see. There are four types of sentence structure: simple, compound, complex, compound, complex. Am I going fast? Could you, any one of you, could you please respond back? Let me know, am I going fast? Are you able to understand?
Yes, ma'am, we are able to understand now.
Okay,
Yes,
fine.
ma'am,
Thank you.
we
Thank you.
understand, madam.
Yes. Okay. Now, let us learn simple sentence. Simple. Even in the name itself, it has a meaning. A simple sentence always contains only one clause. A simple sentence always it contains only one clause. Means here there is no combination of independent and dependent clause. Only a sentence which can contains a subject and verb, just like a single clause. Right? Previously I have already explained clause. A clause contains subject and verb. Okay, so simple sentence means it just a normal sentence which contains subject plus action verb, subject plus verb. Okay, for example, if you see this, Matt plays tennis in the morning. Here, it is a clause, contains subject and verb. Matt plays tennis in the morning. See, the remaining four words, they belongs to phrase. Tennis in the morning. What is this tennis in the morning? If you don't have a subject and verb. But if you have a subject and verb, whenever you have a subject and verb in this sentence, then only it is going to have a complete meaning. Matt plays tennis in the morning. So simple sentence means a sentence which contains subject plus verb in it. That kind of sentence is going to call as a simple sentence. Next, a compound sentence means compound sentence, it contains two independent clauses. Compound sentence contains two independent clauses. So independent clauses means main clause. See, independent clause. What is this independent clause? That I have already told you. It doesn't depend on other part of the sentence. Alone, it can make a complete sentence. By standing alone, it can make a complete meaning. Okay, for example, look at this example. She works in the city. She works in the city. Here, within this part of the sentence, we have subject and verb. She is a subject, work is a action. She works in the city. This is a part of a sentence. Just imagine that this is a first part. Next, go to the second part. She lives in the suburbs. She lives in the suburbs. So this is another part of the sentence. See, you need not to depend upon the first part of the sentence to understand the second part of the sentence. Why? Because in the second part of the sentence, it has again the subject and verb. She is a subject, lives is a verb. You need not to depend upon the first part of the sentence to understand. So both these two are different two parts, and these two different two parts are also has subject and verb. But when we are combining these two independent clauses, we have to take the support of subordinative conjunctions. We have to take the subordinative conjunctions. So subordinative conjunctions, you might have known the conjunctions. Conjunctions means mostly we'll use them as linking words, conjunctions. Okay, so even in linking words, even in conjunctions, we have different two kinds, subordinative conjunctions and coordinative conjunctions. Subordinative conjunctions, coordinative conjunctions. See, if I tell you the list of coordinative conjunctions, you'll be able to find subordinative conjunctions. So coordinative conjunctions means in a sentence when two words within itself it contains coordination. As soon as. See, whenever we use as soon, immediately we have to use another conjunction as well as soon as. Okay, so these kind of conjunctions just given, I have given just few two examples. So these kind of linking words they call as coordinative conjunctions. So subordinative conjunctions means which will give you possibility to link two things, but and or. Okay, so either or, neither nor. Understand? So again, these either or, neither nor, they're also coordinative conjunctions. Whenever we have a different words, right? But and or. So these still we have a conjunction list of conjunctions. You just go through once there. You'll try to find out the differentiation between subordinative conjunctions and coordinative conjunctions. In compound sentences, we'll use subordinative conjunction. Okay, so here the subordinative conjunction is but. We can combine two independent clauses with the help of subordinative conjunction to make it as a one. See, if you make them or if you just keep them, individual part of the sentences also, it will give meaning. When we combine these two individual parts or these two individual clauses with the help of subordinative conjunction, also it will give a different kind of meaning. How? Let's see. She works in the city, but she lives in the suburbs. She works in the city, but she lives in the suburbs. Suburbs means a village kind of place. A village kind of place where a particular area is keep being long distance or distant to the city. Place which can be a far distant to the city, out of the station, right? We call them as out of the cities, right? So she works in the city here, but so what is that? But two opposite things. We are expressing two opposite things. She lives in the city. Sorry, she works in the city, but she lives in the suburbs. Though she is working in the city, but she lives in the village kind of area. Understand? To express two different kind of things, we can use subordinative conjunction but. So these two are independent clauses. A compound sentence contains two independent clauses which can combine with the help of subordinative conjunction. Okay, next. Next, complex sentence. Simple sentence contains subject plus verb. Okay, so that is called as simple sentence. A compound sentence means two individual or two independent or two main clauses combined with subordinative conjunction is called as compound sentence. Now, complex sentence. A complex sentence contains one independent clause, one dependent clause. If this a complex sentence doesn't contains an independent clause, we cannot understand the mentioned dependent clause. We cannot understand the dependent clause. See, within the example, she will go to school in the city. She will go to school in the city until she finds a job. See, if even in the down dependent clause, she finds a job. Even in this sentence, we have subject plus verb. She is a subject, finds is a verb. Even though we have a subject and verb. See, earlier I told you that a clause it contains a subject plus verb, but but again, dependent clause, independent clause. To understand dependent clause, we have to take the help of independent clause. Okay, so though in this dependent clause we have subject and verb, but if we don't take the support of independent clause, or if we don't take the help of main clause, we cannot understand the meaning of a complete meaning of subordinative clause. How? Let's see. She finds a job. See, by reading this or by mentioning this, are we able to understand anything else? She finds a job. What? She finds a job means what? What is happening before and what will happen on next? I cannot understand. Right? By reading this single sentence, she finds a job. Right? So to understand this part of the sentence, we have to take the front part of the sentence. She will go to school in the city. See, by reading this part of this sentence, we can understand very clearly. Though it has a subject and verb, it contains the remaining complete information. It has a complete information in this part of the sentence. So that without depending upon any other part, we can understand by reading this part of the sentence. She will go to school in the city. Need not to depend upon any other part of the sentences. Okay, so next, see here, subordinating conjunctions. See, earlier I told you that a sentence structure always contains always contains main clause and subordinate clauses, or two main clauses, or two subordinate clauses and one main clause, whatever it is. The clauses will be combined with the help of subordinative conjunctions in sentence structure. Okay, here one dependent clause and one independent clause will be combined with the help of subordinating conjunction. She will go to school in the city until she finds a job. Means one action will goes on at the particular period before another action is going to take place. One action has already in the running, means it has already in process. How long? How long means at the particular period until. Here the word subordinating conjunction unless, until. Okay, so they will tell you the time period. They will tell you the period of time. When, what is the period of the time? Until she finds a job. Okay, so independent clause and dependent clause combined with the subordinative conjunction is called as complex sentence. Complex sentence, it has one independent clause and one dependent clause. Next, compound complex sentence. So a compound complex sentence, it contains two independent clauses and one dependent clause. Means two subordinative clauses, one main clause. How? See the example here. The independent clauses that you can find out within the highlighted color of yellow, and the red colored highlighted words are considered as subordinative conjunctions, and the highlighted blue color highlighted parts are main classes. Okay, sorry, subordinative classes. Okay, now look at the example. The baby slept and dreamed. The baby slept and dreamed. Here again, subject and two actions, two verbs are there in this part of the sentence. So this is independent clause. We need not to depend upon the other words to understand the meaning of or usage of this word. The baby slept and dreamed. Next, and is a conjunction. The mother watched. Here again, the mother is a subject. Watched is a verb. Again, we need not to depend upon others to understand. Next, while is a conjunction. Okay, the rain fell. The rain fell. So see, simply if I mention that the rain fell, what is it? What is the action of the rain? Again, subject we have, verb we have. Rain is a subject, fell is a verb. But to understand this phrase, definitely we have to depend upon these. Or to understand this clause, definitely we have to depend upon the other parts of the sentence. The baby slept and dreamed, and the mother watched while the rain fell. Okay, so while the rain fell, while is a conjunction, the rain fell is a dependent clause. It depends upon the previous two parts. Next, the same, coming to the same sentence also can be written like this as a active voice and passive voice. Okay, next, see the down. While the rain fell, it's a dependent clause and depends upon the next two parts of the sentence. The baby slept and dreamed, and the mother watched. The baby slept and dreamed, and the mother watched. See, the above one is passive voice, the below one is active voice. Okay, so a compound complex sentence, a sentence which can combines or a sentence which can contains two or more independent clauses and one or more dependent clause which will combines with the help of subordinative conjunction is called as compound complex sentence. Ma, are you able to follow? Hello?
Yes, ma'am.
Madam,
Okay. Okay, fine, fine, good. See, see here. Very clearly you can be able to understand what is an independent clause, what is a dependent clause. Independent clause also contains a subject plus verb. While I'm explaining, you just try to go through the definitions. You just go through the lines, through that you can be able to understand very easily. I'm just giving you oral definition, but you just go through the words, read them, and you will be able to understand. See, an independent clause, it contains a subject verb, but it never depends upon the other parts of the sentence. Without depending upon the other parts of the sentence, also it contains a complete meaning. Okay, how? For example, Jim studied in the cafeteria for his chemistry quiz. Here the action and the subject has given very clearly. Someone is studying at the place of cafeteria for the particular purpose of attending his chemistry quiz. Jim studied in the cafeteria for his chemistry quiz. So this is an independent clause. To understand this sentence or this part of the sentence, it doesn't require to take the help of other part. Okay, next, if you see the next category, the dependent clause, of course this also contains a subject and verb, but it doesn't make any complete sense of an action. It doesn't make any complete sense of an action or of a situation. To understand, or it cannot give a complete information of something. How? When Jim studied in the cafeteria for his chemistry quiz. When the word when, it tells this action has not completed. The word when, it tells that action has not completed. Still action is there. Something has happened after this part of the sentence. When Jim studied in the cafeteria for his chemistry quiz, his teacher called me, or his friend called him. Something happened. Some another action is there. If we don't know the next action, we cannot complete the first part of the sentence. Right. So that is the differentiation between independent clause and dependent clause. Next. Yeah, this we have already discussed what is clause, what is a phrase. In the previous class, I have told you about phrase and its kinds. Now we were discussed about clause and two different kinds. right? And also which kind of clauses we will use for the construction of simple sentences, or for the construction of compound sentences, complex sentences, and compound complex sentences, and the role of clauses, right? So these things we have discussed about a sentence structure. Okay. So let me give you a small summarization about simple sentence. Simple sentence. What is simple subject? Which can a sentence which can contain subject and verb. It calls a simple sentence. A compound sentence which contains two main clauses, and these two main clauses will be combined with the help of subordinative conjunction. A complex sentence means which contains one main clause and one subordinative clauses. As usual, these two clauses also will be combined with the help of subordinative conjunction. A compound complex sentence which contains two or more main clauses or one or more subordinative clauses, which combines with the help of subordinative conjunctions. Okay, so this is called a sentence structure. I hope you understand very well. In the next class, we will discuss about the power of punctuation in English language usage. You might have already known very well about all the punctuation marks, but still we have to make them follow the more rules and regulations. So what are those rules and regulations to use these kind of punctuation marks, that we will discuss in the later class. Okay, fine. Have you understood? Students, have you understood the structure of a sentence?